All right, Summer, I know we've been talking about generating these seller leads. So I'm going to show you what we do. And we utilize this Boomtown platform, but of course you don't have to. I know you have it too, so it'll make things easier.
Okay.
Um, but with the seller suite, you have this additional tab on your main page. And this is
Mhm.
where you can direct sellers to get an evaluation. So if they go in here and they put in an address, Boomtown is cool because it has a two-step process. Um, so we've gotten a ton of partial leads. So if you drive them to this website, somebody comes in and they decide they don't want to give you their contact information, what Boomtown will do, they'll pull that information into the back end. So once you log into Boomtown, if you go over to seller leads, these are the people who didn't give their contact information. So as you can see, I have like 57,000. Now I've done some trainings in here, so there may be more, but let's say there's at least 50,000, right? And then if I go back to my sellers that have actually gone to that next step and given me their contact information, there's 15,000 of those. So
Okay.
there's a significant amount of opportunities in here if you have somebody who would work those partials.
Okay, that's great.
And remember, when you're doing your Google advertising, right?
Mhm.
They're going to be keyword driven to your website. They're going to go in, click your ad after they're keyword driven. Then they're going to put their address in. So it's really like a three-step process. Even though they didn't take that fourth step and give you their contact info, it's still, in my opinion, a good lead. So what we do, I'm going to just show you my search that I do just to figure out the areas that I want to market in.
Okay.
I'll go into my MLS and I'm going to look at closed transactions, and I'm just going to go through all of the cities that I work just to look at the numbers. So the first thing I'm looking at, so I went out 30 days for closed transactions for a
Hmm.
specific city, right? So this one has 172 sales, which is
Okay.
pretty good, right?
Hmm.
I could look at this one. So South Lake has 28. So I would prefer like one that has more available
Right.
opportunities, right?
Okay.
Once I go through all of my cities that I work, look at the numbers,
Mhm.
I'm going to get the results because I also want to see in addition to the amount of transactions. So I'll select all, do a quick CMA and look at the median numbers in terms of sales price, days on the market. Make this bigger so you can see it. So if I go down, I can see that the median sales price over the last 30 days was 665. Sales price to list price percentage is 98%, which is good. That means there's a good strong demand for that area.
Okay.
Um, 45 average days on the market, so not too bad. So if it checks my boxes in terms of there's a good amount of transactions, high sales price, higher sales price to list price percentage, and then low days on the market, I'm going to go over to Google. So I'll pull up my Gmail and I'll go over to the Google Apps, go down to Google Ads, and then I'm going to, this is not an account that we use for the ads, but I can show you the option in here. So if you go to tools and then keyword planner and then
Mhm.
discover keywords, I put the city name and then I just put homes just to keep it basic because I want to let Google tell me what people are typing in. Now,
Mhm.
this is going to help me somewhat get sellers more economically because for our area, our average sales price is probably in general around 450. So I know somebody who's paying on average 700,000, most likely at least 30 to 50% of those people are going to have a house to sell. So I can market for sellers this way by going to higher price point areas that have a good amount of transactions going on. And you can see like just these three here, and this is the last 30 days or average monthly searches. There have been 30K to 300K people that
Mm-hmm.
type in homes for sale in Frisco TX. And my average cost per click is $2.06. So what we found is it takes us on average 10 clicks to a lead. So any lead that comes from this would cost me about 20 bucks.
Okay.
Any questions about anything I've done so far that you can think
No, it looks pretty simple.
of? Okay. So now if I go in and I type in what's my home worth and just look at those results.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see there's a good amount of searches for this too, but our cost per click is a little bit higher, right? So now
Okay.
we're looking at like maybe 80 bucks a lead for that.
Okay.
And this is not you're going to get sellers doing it this way too, but it's
Mhm.
probably around the same percentage of the other one that I just showed you. 30,
Okay.
50% maybe of these people. Some people may just want to see what their house is worth. They may want to contest their taxes. So it's not like a
Yeah.
direct, you know,
Yeah.
lead. Sure. Now you can do sell my home. And with sell my home, we're looking at around 1,300 bucks a lead.
Okay.
So you have different options in here where you can market for sellers. Um, I use Boomtown because of that two-step process. So I'm getting those partial leads as well as the full complete leads, and I'm not missing out on those opportunities that come through. What we'll do is we give them their value basically, and
Mhm.
you're going to reach out to them and we're just like, hey, you registered on our website looking for your home value. We're going to deposit some value to them first before we ask them, hey, are you thinking about selling your home?
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
we'll just say, hey, what we're doing, because the market has been kind of funky, just with us coming off of this high point that we've all had. So it's correcting itself, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
we're doing is we're letting people know what their house is worth right now and what it could be worth in the next 3 to 6 months, just giving you an idea of what we think the market will do in your area. Is that something that you're interested in? So that kind of gets people like, one, you're giving them some value before you just ask them a question. And a
Right.
lot of people are interested in knowing that. And then it makes them to start talking about their house too, because you have to ask questions about the condition, because
Mhm.
put together a report for them, but it's not something that they can easily get themselves, right? Like if
Right.
I called and I was like, do you want me to send you over your home value or do you want me to send you a CMA? They're going to be like, no, because I can just go on to Zillow, right, and get a Zestimate, even though it's not accurate, but
Mhm.
if they just want an idea of what their house is worth, that might suffice. But if we are giving them something that's customized that most people aren't saying, and we're
Yeah.
providing it, and it's something that they can't easily find themselves,
Hmm.
we've found a lot of people are responsive to that.
Okay. That sounds great.
Do you want to know how we're putting together that, or do you do any
Yes.
type of predictive stuff? I don't know if you guys are doing that or not.
We haven't done much of it. I would like to see how you're doing that.
Okay. So we're going to look at past historical data. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to take their area and we're
Hmm.
going to look at sales. And typically we'll do a report from the time that they've owned the property just so they can see the appreciation. So we'll create a chart and let's say they've owned it since 2019. We'll do a chart and we'll have 2019, 2020, 21, 22, 23, 24, and we'll put the average sales price for their home. So we're going to go into the MLS and we're going to search for properties, and we're going to probably have to break it down to smaller increments. So I probably can't do the whole year, right?
Mhm.
To look at numbers and get an average for it. So, because our MLS only shows 5,000 at a time. So just
Okay.
depending on how specific you make it, we
Mhm.
typically use 25% plus or minus of their square footage for our square foot range. And then
Mhm.
we'll do 33% of the age of their property. So we'll find houses that are within their same subdivision
Mhm.
that are within 25% plus or minus of their house and 33% plus or minus of the age of their home. And we're just going to look at what is the average sales price for these houses every year. Okay.
Okay.
So it kind of helps them see the trend of it, right? And then we have to use our own sense about the market and being a professional. So, what do we think is going to happen over the next 3 to 6 months in terms of pricing? That's what we talk about, right? So,
Okay.
for us, we're looking at one right now. We have like seasonal shifts that happen every year. So we have
Mhm.
the holidays, and then we have January and February, which are the slowest months of the year because that's when we sell the least amount of homes.
Mhm.
So if somebody was listing their house during holidays or during the slowest time, they could probably get more than they could if they wait until the spring.
Less competition.
Right, less competition, right? And the buyers who are out there probably are pretty motivated that they're
Right.
willing to buy something like during the holidays and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we would kind of bump the number up and say like if you sold within the next 3 to 6 months, you could probably get this amount. But if you sold wait until like the spring, that
Mhm.
number is probably going to go down somewhat.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
we're using historical data. We're
Uh-huh.
looking at the amount of available houses that are in their market right now. Like if there's a ton of inventory, there's a ton of builders they'd be competing with, that's going to knock their pricing down too. So we're just kind of looking at everything in the market to see how we could put a number together for them.
Okay. Seems simple enough.
All right. Anything else you can think of?
No, I don't think so. That sounds good. It seems pretty simple.
It is. It is. Of course, there's some tweaks and things that you have to adjust uh,
Mhm.
in terms of your marketing, like looking at your campaigns, and we can help you with that as you start building them out.
Okay, that sounds great. Well,
All
thank you for
right.
your help. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome.